What's up, everybody? It's your boy here, Pixelbane. So, doing something completely different from anything else I've done before because I have a habit of just starting things and then never finishing them and then just moving on. So, this is gonna be a podcast. Whoa! Who would have guessed? Before we start on our subject, which I just picked Christian Weston Chandler, or Quick, which is I'm going to refer to him as from here, I want to make some disclaimers. I don't feel like editing this for one, so you're going to get the raw, unedited content from your boy Pixelbane here. Two, I'm not very eloquent. Well, I'm pretty amazingly intelligent, while I struck my dick off about how intelligent I am. I am not eloquent at all, and I struggle to speak. So you're gonna deal with all the and the ums and then the weird sentences that I say. But I'm doing this anyway because I feel like if I do this like weekly podcast or whatever I make this out to be, which I won't fucking honor in the first place because I'll stop doing it, it's a good little exercise for me to improve my speaking because I don't really get a chance to do that because of the amount of hermitude that I live under. And then three, final disclaimer: everything I say in here is probably going to be false, so don't take this as truth. This is supposed to be entertaining to listen to some fucking autiste just ramble on for however long. So without further ado, welcome to the first episode of the Pixelbane podcast. Wow! Hopefully this goes well and is received well by my 89 subscribers, which probably don't even go on YouTube anymore. Because if they did, I would willing to bet that they would unsubscribe from my channel. And most of those subscribers, and I mean like 90% of those subscribers, subscribe to me for the shitpost video of the Nut Shack that I made last September or October. I don't even remember when I made it. But that shit got like 60,000 views, and all it was is that I basically just took the Nut Shack intro, and then I just kept multiplying it. Like I would do one Nut Shack, and then divide that into 2x2 grid of Nut Shack, and then take that 2x2 Nut Shack, and then make that by a 2x2, and then it just exponentially grew, and somehow that shit post is better than anything else I posted on my YouTube channel, and it was a real wake up call that people like shit more than they like actual content that I put out. So at that point, I was like, maybe I shouldn't even care about what I put out on YouTube and just put out whatever, whatever that makes me happy. And if people want to shit on me, then that's cool. Maybe I'll become infamous like Quick, or there's no way I'll become Quick. There is no way I become that level of locale. Maybe a DSP of levels, but not as popular, and that's within my levels. But anyway, let's begin. So I don't know. I just wanted to talk about shit that's, I hold dear, or was like, I don't know, part of like my growing up, I guess. I don't know. So basically, like in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, I came across the good old Christian Weston Chandler stuff. Where before I start that, I probably should describe or explain to you who good old Quick is. Because maybe there might be one or two out there that don't know who he is, despite his like massive resurgence in internet culture in the last like 3 years. Okay, so good old Quick is, I think he's like 30 something. Like he's like past mid 30s at least. He's at least 35. He's a 35-year-old male. He transitioned into a female. He hasn't taken any hormone therapy because his welfare that he gets from the state and the government basically at large wouldn't be enough to pay for it, and obviously he hasn't like actually got surgery for that, though there is a funny story about that. We'll get to that. So he's about 35 years old. He has autism. He absolutely loves My Little Pony, Sonic the Hedgehog, Pokemon, Sailor Moon, Transformers now, Skylanders, Imagineers, or whatever the fuck it's called, and then Lego. And he basically started putting out videos of himself onto the internet, like his good old captain's logs, where he would talk about his life, not too different than what I'm doing here right now. And then he just got attention. Like one day, like people started to find his channel, and they started to repost his videos. on things like 4chan's B, and then Encyclopedia Dramatica had a page on him, and he just started growing out of proportion. And at that point, once people started taking notice of him, they started documenting his life in the past and up to the point and to the future, and then they started trolling him. And while I don't necessarily condone the trolling of an autistic man or anyone really, I can enjoy it. So I'm not going to say, oh, go out and troll good old Quick, but I'm not going to say you can't laugh at it. Just how I say, you don't necessarily need to troll me, but if you do, I'll probably find something humorous about it in like a macabre or like a self-deprecating type of way. But anyway, so they started trolling him. They started like creating like fake personas of themselves as like females or whatever, trying to get his attention and to make him do fucking stupid things. Like they took advantage of his autism and not knowing like the social norms of situations or like what to do, to make him do things like shove a medallion up his butt, or to have him like fuck up his PlayStation or his Xbox. It might have been his Xbox. No, he hates Xbox. It would never be an Xbox. He calls it the Hexbox, because he used to be incredibly religious. I don't know if he is now, but like his persona has like done a complete 180 once he went trans. And I don't know if that's like for real or not, because I never really know what a person's actually really thinking. So he might still be the raging racist lover of Jesus that he once was. But anyway, I'm fucking way off track. So like people started trolling him, and then the trolling of him got popular, so more people started trolling him. More people kept documenting his life. More people kept digging into his life. And right now, like I would say, like he's one of the most documented internet figures. Like he's probably more documented than a lot of celebrities out there, like movie stars. Maybe not all movie stars, but like a lot of them. Like there's obviously an Encyclopedia Dramatica page that you can look him up if you just search CWC or Chris Chan. And then he's got the good old Sonichu Wiki, which is I think the quickie. So CWCWIKI.com, I think that's what it is. If you go there, then you can fucking read up on like every one of his Facebook posts that he's posted throughout the years. You can read every single one of those. I don't know if they included a Twitter subpage, because he got on Twitter like not really recently, but he's been using it. So like he's got Twitter stuff I'm sure is archived on there. People have archived his videos from his myriad of YouTube channels that he shut down over the years. But he's like incredibly well documented, and it's pretty amazing like figure to look at. Even if you're just getting into him because like he's resurging in popularity now because of people like Brent Daniel Reeds, or like a little bit ago, like 2 or 3 years ago, he maced the GameStop employee. So like that really brought himself back into the public eye for a bit. Because prior to that, while he was still posting videos about like his transition into a woman, and then just like talking about things, circumstances pretty much dictated him to not have like as large a YouTube presence, or just like an internet presence at all, because his house burned down. He's transitioning, so he was laying off the internet for a bit, and basically just like I think he just needed a break. And because of that break, like people stopped really following him as much, so his popularity went down. But once he's fucking had that tirade about Sonic's arms being the wrong color, man, they're the wrong color, and he started going to like Best Buys and GameStops, and I think switching the covers of the Sonic, what the fuck was it? Fire and Ice? No, that was the one after that. Whatever the fucking somewhat new Sonic game that came out, he started switching the covers to make it so that Sonic's arms weren't blue. Because, they're not blue, man. They're not blue. So after he started doing that, he got basically banned out of a bunch of Best Buys because of what he was doing and how he was acting. And then, so he went on to GameStops. And then once a GameStop employee started to approach him, Quick fucking panicked for whatever reason. I mean, he's got autism, so I guess that, like if someone approached you and you had autism and you were like fucking really finicky and like afraid because you have all these people that are basically pseudo stalking you, I guess it kind of can make sense why he would like reach for the mace, but it's still fucking retarded. So he maced this GameStop employee, and he's basically was taken to court. I don't remember exactly what the outcome was. It that came from the court. If he had to pay damages, like he probably had to pay damages. But he's banned from all GameStops now, and he tried to repeal it. He tried to play the fucking SJW fucking neo-feminist card of you're oppressing me. I'm a trans woman. This is transphobia. He tried to pull that card, but it didn't work. He's still banned from every GameStop that I fucking know of at this point. But yeah, so like after that happened, and then like Brent Daniel reads, he started reading Sonichu from what I understand, and that started bringing him back into the forefront. And then now, so there's a huge resurgence here, and he's like actually putting out videos all the time. So yeah, that's basically the quick rundown, if I may, of Quick. It's really the quick rundown. But like now let's talk about little facets of his life. I don't really know. I don't have a script for this, so I'm just spitballing. So like there's no real structure to this, and I don't know how entertaining this would be to listen to, and I have no idea how long I'm gonna go. But just gonna talk about some basic things about Quick. If you've ever heard about the character of Sonichu, that is Sonic Chu, is the amalgamation of Pikachu and Sonic. That is a copyrighted material from good old Quick. And it's basically his magnum opus. It's the comic book series, and then everything that, like, I guess it's a merchandise line from him now because he's putting figures on Etsy and whatnot. It's a comic book series that he was writing before he got famous or infamous on the internet about the misadventures of himself and his creation of Sonichu. And it is quite the read. I actually own certified copies of the first 3 issues of Sonichu that I bought foolhardily, maybe, I don't know, from Chris's Etsy site. Just because I wanted something of Chris's, you know. I asked for some fucking him to sign it, and the motherfucker didn't sign it. The motherfucker, he took so long to send it. Like, he was like, oh, I'm sorry this is taking so long, blah, blah, blah. It's like, hey, man, I don't mind. Just sign them for me, and then we'll call it even. But he didn't do it. But anyway, I wanted something from him that cost like $20 fucking for 3 fucking shittily printed comic books. But, like, all his other stuff that he sells amiibo figures that he custom makes, air quotes around that. I mean, he does custom make them, but they look like fucking dog shit. He sells those for $60 plus. Like, they can be like $80. It's crazy. They look fucking awful. He does the same thing with Skylanders. He sells those for fucking like $60 to $80. That he basically remolds with Crayola Model Magic, which is his like go-to molding material. Instead of using like clays or anything, he uses Crayola Model Magic. So he does that and sells those. He's got the quintessential Sonichu medallion that he's made. He's made many over the years. As I talked about, the medallion being shoved up his ass, that was one of them. One of the earlier trolls got access to the Sonichu medallion because it's basically like, I don't know, it's like the quintessence of Christian. So like that was the goal of the trolls at the time, was to get the Sonichu medallion, because if you got it, that just proved how good you trolled Chris. So like the first one, I'm pretty sure they beat the shit out of it with a hammer or something. I can't remember. They obviously uploaded a video of it and whatnot, but there's just so much to talk about with these sagas of Chris that he's gone through over the years, because there's just so much data and documentation. Like I can't even compress it. Like every time I start thinking about one issue to talk about, my mind jumps to like 15 other ones that I've read about. It's just fucking amazing. So what else I could talk about Chris? He was going to college at one point to get like an AutoCAD degree for like architecture and whatnot, if I believe. But there's something you gotta know about Chris. Since high school, he's wanted to get himself a girlfriend, but not just any type of girlfriend, a boyfriend-free girl. And he wants, obviously, to marry this person and have children, and wants to have a daughter. And I think he wants to name it, he wanted to name it, I think, Christine or Angelica. Well, no, Angelica Sonic. I don't know. Was it Christine? Fuck. It might have been. I don't know. I can't fucking remember. But so he's been on this quote unquote love quest for the longest time. It's basically since high school. And when he was going to college, he was obviously still on this love quest. And what he would do is he would go sit out like on the campus mall or like some type of like internal like street for people to like pedestrian walkway of the campus. I think it was like some main mall of the campus. And set up a table and set up a sign that says something about like, my name is Christian Worcester Chandler, blah, blah, blah. I'm looking for a girlfriend-free girl. I'm a nice guy. I like playing Pokemon cards and all this. Basically talking about all the stuff that he likes to do. And I think what happened was that there was enough complaints about it that he was called up to the dean's office. Oh, fuck, what was her name? Marie? Fuck. I call myself a quickie historian, but I can't fucking remember the name of his college dean. Slaville is the name, but it's not the actual name. It's the name of the villainized version of her. Slaville. Well, it doesn't really matter. So he got called up to the office and told not to do it again, but he still did it. He fucking spazzed out in the office and basically was just like expelled from the university because of his actions. And Chris is still pissed off at the dean, probably till this day. I don't know if he still has it, but he used to have like these Lego figures that are all like I think taken apart or whatever in these like capsules of like the dean and like his first sweetheart and some other people, and he would shake these Lego figures in these capsules when he would get angry. So they're like quasi voodoo dolls. But he gave her, the dean is like biggest I don't know, stab, biggest insult, biggest shame that he can give someone is the curse ye ha me ha. But I can't imagine how awkward it was for the dean to have someone just like stand up in the middle of your office and then like go into a kamehameha pose and go curse ye ha me ha at someone. Like that would make me cringe so fucking hard. Like I wouldn't know how to act. I mean, I'm like fucking autistic anyway, so maybe a normal person would be like, okay, this is just a little weird. I don't really know, but there's just so much to fucking cover, and I'm forgetting the names of his sweetheart too. He basically had a sweetheart, probably the closest thing he's ever had to a girlfriend that wasn't a troll. I can't remember her name. They used to go to the local game place by where Chris lived in Ruckersville, Virginia, and he would make advances on her, obviously, but they were kind of good friends. She would draw things for him, and he would draw things for her. She was a arguably better artist than Chris was, and it seemed like things were obviously going well. Would they play Pokemon cards? Like, because Chris didn't play Magic, so it was either Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh, because they were both into Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon. So they would play that shit. But then once Chris started getting internet infamous, people started posting pictures that they've drew about the Sonic 2 characters and Chris like being in gay relationships, or Chris liking Dick, or Sonic 2 loving Dick, or drawing Rose Chew, Sonic 2's sweetheart in the comic book, with a dick. Just a lot of dicks. And at this time, Chris was really, like, he hated homosexuals. He hated homosexuality. He hated trans people. He was blatantly racist. And all of these things. So people would take advantage of that and draw characters in ways to trigger Chris. And they were really successful because when Chris was going through, like, I think it was the Ed page at the time, and then maybe he went on B as well. He saw these things and he was like, I have to prove to the internet that I'm not gay, that I don't like dick. So what he did was that he drew Sonic Chew and Rose Chew in intimate, like, poses, doing things that he traced from other, like, obviously hentai that he looked at. But the thing that really caused the issue here was that he drew his sweetheart. Fuck, I can't remember her name. And I don't want to, like, pause this. As I said, I'm not editing this. I'm not going to go and look it up because that's not authentic. This is the authentic Pixelbane podcast. So he drew his sweetheart and himself fucking, basically. Chris has this huge ass dick into the picture. it looks so malformed because in real life his dick is weirdly curved. Yes, guys, that is also documented. There's picture proof of his dick multiple times from the trolls that have gotten that information. So eventually this information, like these pictures found their way to his sweetheart, and she basically cut all ties with him. Despite Chris constantly trying to get back with her and whatnot, but it just never happened. And yeah, so like that's why he has like the little voodoo Lego doll that he shakes every now and then, because he blames her for the relationship falling apart. I mean, I'm sure he also blames the trolls, but the one who made those actions, who drew those pictures, was Chris in the end. And his girlfriend, or not girlfriend, but his sweetheart at the time, probably had some mild autism. Like, at least to the same degree that I clearly have autism. You know, autism with a lowercase a. Oh, don't mind me. I'm just getting some delicious Dr. Pepper. This is no way sponsored by Dr. Pepper, but I needed something. My throat was getting a little dry. So what else? What about Chris? There's just so much, as I keep saying, about him. I mentioned earlier that his house basically burned down. It's basically, he covered it recently in a captain's log, because as I said, he's been more active recently, and we'll get back to why he's been more active recently. But it burned down because they had a coffee maker attached through a extension cord plugged into like a wall outlet with a fuck ton of other plugs in there. And Chris's mother, Barbara, and his father that passed away, and Chris himself even, were hoarders, or are still hoarders. You can look at old videos of their old house, and it is, I can't see how Bob or Barbara or Chris got around at all. Like, it's just fucking floor to ceiling hoarded shit. And it's because of that fucking environment, a spark lit up and the house went up in fucking flames. Like it's fucking awful. It was, like, I can't fucking imagine living in that environment. And in their new house that they're living in, it's developing like that. They have like 3 cats. They have at least 2 cats. And the hoarding is starting. It's not as bad because Barbara, or Barb, she's getting on in years. She seems to not be lucid in the videos that she appears in. Like, at least, like, maybe she's lucid some of the time, but she seems like she's not all there. And that is very scary for me to, like, think of Chris being the one in charge of that household with someone who is ailing and being more elderly. Because it's just very scary, because like the hoarding in the house is due to Chris misspending their government money, because Barb, I'm pretty sure, is getting money from the government, and Chris is getting money from the government too. And what Chris does with the money for the most part is that he buys Skylanders figures and Lego stuff and video games and a PS4 and all of these like luxury items with his government money. And obviously he has to get some food, but they get behind on their mortgage, they get behind on their electrical bills, they get behind on everything. So what happens is that Barb, or Chris in Barb's name, or when Barb's lucid, I guess, they take out more credit cards, and then they max out those credit cards, and then now those credit cards need to be paid off. So it's like this endless, vicious cycle just because Chris obviously can't manage money. And people have called like government people to their house before, and nothing has happened, which is just fucking scary because like the situation cannot persist like this. The only reason they're able to stay afloat right now is because Chris, I don't know if he's still doing it, but he was getting money from Patreon, and what he was getting the money from Patreon, he was supposed to be drawing Sonichu comics, because that's like his magnum opus. That's the Sonichu comic book series. It's fucking awfully drawn. It's got fucking awful grammar, horrible story, but there's a fucking charm to it. And I'm sure there's people out there that just laugh at it. I mean, I laugh at it too, but there's a certain fucking weird ass charm reading the Sonichu comics. But yeah, he doesn't even do that. Like, he hardly ever draws because he gets stressed. He gets stressed with having to pay all these bills. But anyway, so people are paying him money for that. he's also making these, as I was saying, these amiibo figures, these custom amiibo figures, these custom Skylanders figures. He's making Sonichu medallions out of Crayola Mono Magic, some custom ones. He's also was selling his comic books before. It's Etsy, I think, banned him off their site. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't Etsy. It was like he was with a publisher, but once they found out that he was publishing like a thing that breached copyright, not with just one company, but with two, he got axed from that, and I think he was axed from the next company. So I don't know if he's still selling the comic books. He might be. But like, so he's getting money from that, and he's also trying to sell like Bob's old. I really hope his father's name was named Bob. Fuck, I think it's Bob. It's got to be Bob, unless I'm gonna look like a fucking retard. But anyway, so he's selling his old stamp collections on eBay. He sold a little like paper mache Sonic totem that he made when he was, I think in middle school, maybe in fucking high school. I don't know when the Sonic totem was made. He sold that on eBay for $2,500. And before he even shipped it, he spent the money. So he spent the money on like a $400 gold necklace on his mother, a bunch of Skylanders t-shirts, Skylanders merch, a bunch of Transformers toys, because now he's really into Transformers. He's been into Transformers for the last like 2 years or something crazy like that. He just he doesn't know how to manage money, and that's a huge issue. Like, once Barb is gone, I have no idea how he's gonna fucking survive. I really honestly don't know how he's gonna survive. And the thing that a lot of people are fearing for is that if Barb dies in the house, Chris is not gonna know what to do. He's not gonna know what to do. And people are thinking that they're like, not theorycraft, they're headcanoning that he's just gonna have Barb's rotting corpse in the house, and he's not gonna tell anyone because of the stress involved with calling like 911 if his mother's dying. Would he even call 911 if his mother's dying? Does he have that much awareness? Would he be able to handle that? It's fucking just spooky shit, dude. My God. So if you want to watch any of the Christian Weston Chandler videos, you can just go to the Quickie, or you can search CWC Guardian on YouTube, and that's his current YouTube channel. So his like current videos are going to be there. Or yeah, the Quickie's got the archives from other people just archiving videos. I think like the quick archives or something like that. I think that's what it's called on YouTube. I could be wrong, but that's got a lot of the older videos, and you can see Bob in the old house. It's just so much stuff. It's just like I can't even cover it all. And even if I did, it would take hours upon hours talking about it. Like, I could talk about the advent of Sonichu, which was, he was doing this project for, I think, a graphic designer or some computer-based class, or some art class where he had to create a CD cover. And he wanted to use, like, Sonichu and Pikachu and things like that. But the teacher said, no, you can't use copyrighted material. So what he did was he merged Sonic and Pikachu together, and it created Sonichu. And since then, he was writing comics, and he supposedly, I don't know if it's still valid, but he actually, according to him, he actually copyrighted the intellectual property of Sonichu in Ruckersville, Virginia. I don't know if he still has it, because you have to, I think, pay yearly dues for the copyright, or you have to actively defend it, and I don't know if he's technically actively defending it, and if he's not, then someone else could claim it. And can you honestly copyright basically something that steals copyrighted material from two different things? It's all these different things. But his life is fucking insane. He almost sold like a classic t-shirt, or a classic polo rather, that he used to wear in his old quick videos. And if you've seen a picture of old Christian Weston Chandler, more than likely than not, you've seen him wearing the classic. The classic is like a red, blue, and white polo. He tried to sell that on his eBay as well, and it ended up getting bidded up to something like $26,000 by someone who had like 725 reputation on eBay, something like ridiculously high. But in the end, he didn't actually sell it. He was just basically led on with this person saying, my mom won't let me release the funds unless the thing's all sewn up, because it looked like shit. It had holes everywhere. It smelled, apparently. Chris even said it smelled. It was damp. It clearly probably had mold on it because it was from the fire. So like all their like things that survived the fire were probably like wet and shit. So from when the firefighters came and like watered down everything from to keep the fire from spreading to the neighbors' houses and keep it under control. So like it was wet and then put in a fucking bag, a trash bag, and it was just recently opened up like a month ago. And it's just so like he was like, oh, if you sew up the holes, I'll release the funds, and obviously that never happened. Chris kept putting out videos of him sewing it up and showing how much progress he was making. But once it finally hit him that he wasn't going to get the money, he put out another captain's log where he looked like he was drunk or high or something. He looked not in his right mind. And he was implying basically that doing 5 days worth of sewing was worth the $25,000. And I found that quite humorous. But it's just a train wreck, you know. You just can't look away. You just can't look away from like this train that somehow keeps gaining mass, or just riding straight into like Chris just standing on the fucking train tracks. It's fucking awful, but you know, entertaining at the same time. But man, I kind of wanted the person. I really wanted the person that had all that fucking reputation on eBay, because like, you know, that's a lot of reputation, and like one negative review could maybe not mean a whole lot. But I was hoping that they would buy it, and I would wonder what Chris would do, if he would do the responsible thing and pay off his mortgage and pay off all the credit cards that he's taken out in Barb's name, or would he just go down the insane path and just buy a fuck ton of Skylanders figures, a fuck ton of Amiibo, and a fuck ton of Legos whatever the fuck Skylanders ripoff game that costs a shit ton of money, because he fucking just loves that shit. This is fucking crazy, dude. I don't know. If you're still listening to this, I recommend you just start looking into Chris. It's a good thing to do when you're bored. There's just so much there. You'll be surprised, you'll be shocked and awed when like you see what he's done over the years, what video content he's uploaded, and how like basically shitty humanity is for picking on him. Like, hey, I'm not saying it's not funny. I mean, that's just more proof that humanity's fucking shit, because I find it hilarious. But like, it's pretty shitty to fucking troll the shit out of this autistic motherfucker that doesn't know any better. But like, oh man, like somewhat recently, I'd say maybe 2 years ago, or was it 3? I can't. It was a while ago. A troll got through to him. He's become more and more cautious about who he talks to on the internet, because he's been basically burned so many times with people pretending to be female, or pretending to like him, or pretending to want him, or like they die in a fire, or they just outright like say, oh, I'm not a fucking girl, I'm a 12-year-old boy, ha 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 ha, you're a pedophile and you're gay, ha ha ha, right when he was pretty anti-homosexual stuff. But so like 2 or whatever years ago, a couple, or like maybe just one person, got in contact with Chris saying that they're a couple and they want to have children. And so they wanted to be inseminated with Chris's semen, but they didn't want it to be done artificially, so they would want to have sex. And keep in mind, Chris really fucking wants to have sex, and it might be debated that he's had sex, but it was probably due to a prostitute. There's no hard proof that he has had sex, and if it was, people are speculating that it was indeed with a prostitute because of what he was saying on Facebook. But he really wants to like find a girlfriend and like have children. And I guess this was a good like compromise, and then like not dating these people necessarily, but be able to father basically a might be able to see with 2 different people nonetheless. So the troll went on and on and on, and these people were getting closer, or this person rather was getting closer with Chris, until the point that they said, oh, we found someone else that we would like to have this instead with. And this person was some dude that was obviously trying to be as alpha as shit. so that this person would join in. I'm assuming they were having like good old school like text conversations through things like AIM and stuff. It was probably not through AIM, but that's how Chris does a lot of his messaging, through like IRC things. So this guy comes in acting all macho, and the ladies start going towards that dude, and Chris has got to get all panicky. So then the ladies suggest doing something like to show their sexual prowess, their sexual moves, to prove to them the choice. And Jesus fucking Christ. So Chris puts out this video of him wearing a bra and some woman's underpants, and his hair is all done up with a towel, like he's fresh out of the shower, and a blow-up doll. And so basically he shows his sex moves against the blow-up doll, and he has a dildo that he pulls out, and he's like, "This is not mine. It's just something that I just bought. I haven't used it. See, it's still in the wrapper." He makes known that he doesn't like dick, but you know, the amount of like pushback from the gay shit and like the lightening up on it really makes me believe that he's probably at least somewhat closeted gay. But anyway, shows that this video is a fucking work of art. I don't know what you would have to search to find it, because it gets taken down all the fucking time on YouTube. You would probably have to search like Christian West Chandler sex moves, or CWC sex moves, or sex video, or something like that. But it is a work to behold. And then the other guy just has him just like a view of his fucking crotch, and he's just fucking this sex doll, and you can just see him just fucking it right there. He's not moving it, he's just moving his hips. And the sex doll people believe to be like the Julie. That's the name of the sweetheart, Julie. There's like, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, it's got to be Julie. No, fuck, damn it. I can't fucking remember. Julie was one of the trolls. But anyway, this sex doll that was used in the Julie sex video that Chris put out. That's another thing you need to look at. He just fucks a lot of sex dolls, and he uploads the videos. So, and then after those two videos were put up, Chris put up a straw poll, and people voted on which one had the better sex moves, and that would be the person that those two girls went with. And obviously, the fucking troll won. And after that, basically, people were expecting the Chris to flip the fuck out, but I think in reality what happened was that he just shut down for a bit and didn't upload any content, because that's like, he didn't upload anything pretty much after that for a bit. It probably disappointed him immensely, and he was probably embarrassed, because at that point he probably figured out that it was some troll, and once again he won't have a fucking child. Talking about child shit, recently, like I think the last like few days from me recording this, some fucking news outlet talked about how male pregnancy might be possible in the future. And I'm assuming the article probably goes into the artificial womb thing that was made for lambs and whatnot that in the recent like few months. So like saying, oh, it might be possible to have an artificial womb installed basically in a male. And so it seemed like Chris was really into that, and he's like, finally I'll be able to be a mother. Yeah, it really concerns me, because if that is ever made a possibility and somehow Chris can't afford it because somehow he sells like some polo for $50,000 in the future and someone actually buys it, oh, I feel fucking worried for that child, because he shows that he doesn't have it in him to take care of himself. He can't take care of his mother, and he kind of can take care of his cats, but that's the extent. Like, there's no way he can care for a child. There's no way at all, man. But it sure as hell would be funny. But I honestly wish that the state of Virginia would just step in and say, Chris, you are not showing that you can take care of yourself. You can't take care of your mother. Your mother needs to be put in some home. I know that's a terrible thing to say. No one wants to be in a home. But his mother does not seem like she's in a good place. And the fucking shit that actually makes me mad about Chris. Like, I don't really get mad about Chris. I just, like, either just laugh it off or just not care. The shit that pisses me off is that he uses his fucking mother in his videos. He uses his fucking mother to talk in this most pathetic fucking way, because she's, like, clearly not understanding what's going on, to beg for fucking money from Chris's fucking fans. It fucking pisses me off that he uses his mother that way. And I know it's probably he doesn't really realize it. Maybe he has to fucking realize it to some degree, that he's fucking abusing that situation. But, ugh. Those videos are fucking depressive when Barb is like, please, we need help. We can't pay our bills. While she's wearing a $400 goddamn necklace. Oh my fucking god. Oh, I remember what I talked about earlier in this podcast about Chris. When I mentioned his transition from male to female. He obviously doesn't have the cash to afford hormone therapy. And he doesn't have the cash, obviously, for reassignment surgery. So what he does instead, what he does instead is that he tapes vibrators, like little like pill vibrators, to his nipples, and he puts like estrogel or something, some gel with estrogen in it, and he believes that that's increasing his breasts. And what he also does, I don't know if he still does it, but I don't even know if like the quickie is recorded on this, but on Christian Chandler's YouTube page, the Quickville Guardian, he has his likes and favorites like public. So like every now and then I would like dig through those. And I don't know if he's still going through this phase, but he was going through this phase where he was listening to these videos of subliminal messaging therapy, how to become a hot female body, how to transition from male to female, how to get some big ass anime titties. And like they're just videos, like they're like binaural beats, get them titties, binaural beats, become less autistic, and things like that. And obviously getting abused by fucking people and not understanding that shit's like fake as shit. But he would do that, and I think he had to believe it was working because he was listening to him nonstop. But the piece de resistance is that he's got incontinence issues. He basically shits himself. Not all the time, but he's always had this problem with it. So like I don't know if he's still wearing it, but he would wear diapers every now and then so that he wouldn't shit all over his underwear and stuff and pants. And since he shits over himself all the time, and he's not very clean, he started to develop an abscess underneath his balls. I know this is really, really gross, but if you haven't seen the picture, then count your fucking blessings. So he started to develop this abscess underneath his balls because he wasn't washing under there, and obviously poop was getting there, and it was becoming septic, starting to become septic. And then he posted a picture of it to, I don't know where he posted a picture of it, because clearly that goes against fucking Facebook's terms of service, but maybe he posted it there. But of him lifting his balls and this abscess developing. And apparently when he discovered it, because one night he was having a dream of him like having a period, and he woke up and there was blood in his sheets, and that's when he discovered the hole growing there. Oh, it's fucking. I just kind of want to vomit in my mouth a little bit because it looks pretty fucking gross, and I'm making it wears off in my mind because I haven't seen it, but it's pretty gross. I gotta not think about it. But so he thought it was like a vagina growing. He didn't realize how the situation. He would lie to like probably actual fans of his, not just trolls. He would lie to them saying that he went to a doctor and they said it was all fine. But so many people online saying that that's an abscess because it clearly is an abscess. And if he doesn't get it treated or it fixed, it could develop into like a very serious septic situation. He could end up fucking dying because of it. And I don't know if it's still an issue, but Jesus, like the fact that he thought he was growing a vagina just explains that he clearly needs to be in a home, or he needs to have someone as a caretaker for him. Like he can't live on his own. It's absolutely insane. But that's pretty much basically it. Maybe I'll talk a little bit more. Who knows? Because I'm not editing this. It's like 45 minutes almost. Maybe I shoot for an hour. But I really wanted to like start off. I think I don't know. Maybe I'm getting better at talking. I'm opening this Dr. Pepper again. Delicious. And I'll say it again. I know I've talked about a lot of disgusting things and a lot of things that aren't necessarily funny unless you get the whole situation from them. But you really should look up at Chris. He was my first locale, like in the mid 2000s when I was starting to fucking actually start going 4chan, B, and fucking all that nonsense, and be a candy ass new fag. But yeah, I don't know. Like, obviously, I didn't enjoy it to the extent that I enjoy it now. It was more of like an entirely like mean place that I was coming in from him. And I was like, oh, this guy's autistic. Let's kick him while he's down. And it was fucking hilarious. And now I just like, because at that point I would be like one of those type of people that if I had the balls, which I didn't, I'm still fucking a coward. I probably would have at that time if I had the balls, trolled the shit out of them and thought it was hilarious. Because what I would do at that time, I know this is a complete non sequitur, but as I said, I wanted to fill up this time to make it an hour, or at least close to an hour as possible. At that time, around the early 2000s, mid 2000s, ventrilo harassment stuff was really fucking big. So what I would do is that I would create soundboards and I would go onto vents and then I would play those sounds to fucking bother people for hours, dude, for hours. And it was probably so fucking annoying. And then it got to the point where I would be like, okay, let me run Audacity, the thing that I'm recording this shit in right now. Let me run Audacity so I can record people talking, and then I can clip that and then play those recordings back and start confusing people. It was so fucking hilarious. Okay, I'm going to be honest. It was kind of funny. Some of the things, looking back, was like if I had the audio still, which I probably don't. It's probably lost into the ether forever. Whoa, that was disgusting. Fucking Dr. Pepper coming back up on me. It's probably lost in the ether forever, and it's probably not that funny if I listen to it. But I don't know. I got some fond memories of basically sitting in on someone's raid attempt of Karazhan and WoW, and they're talking about like the Frost minions in before Opera events, and I would record that and I would play that again, or someone said pull or something in like the regard to like tank pulling the mobs, and so I would pull that and then I would fuck with them every now and then. Oh man, it's just that's, I know it's a complete non sequitur, but I was such a fucking jackass back then. I'm still kind of a jackass right now. If you guys have seen my fucking Twitter, I'm fucking a huge shitlord asshole. And it gets me no attention, but I don't know. I like being that, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I haven't changed at all. But I don't know. Like, you guys need to look into Chris. Like, once you start looking into Chris, it opens up the doors to other locales. And keep in mind, if you start with Chris as your first locale to milk, or to like just drink the milk that others have made from the juicy tits of Chris, just keep in mind, you're not going to find a better locale than Chris. You are not. You're not. When you look into Chris, you're going to get some A-log videos. That's not as good as Chris. You might come across the Game Dude videos. Those aren't as good. You might already know of DSP. DSP is a locale at this point. I mean, he's been one for a while with all this So You Don't Play stuff. That stuff is good. I mean, like, if I was going to rank locales out of it, the amount of hours, and I mean hours of enjoyment that I've gotten out of content about them, related to them, or by them, I would say Chris Chan and DSP, Dark Side Phil, are probably on the top. They have to be. Like, there's everything else pales in comparison. So if you start there, just keep in mind, if you need that fix, that autismo fix, you're not gonna find anything as good as Chris Chan and DSP. You might, who knows? Maybe there's another one out there that I don't know. But if you go on fucking Encyclopedia Dramatica and you start looking up their locale pages, or you go into 8chan's locale, if that's still a fucking thing, if 8chan is still a fucking thing, it's not gonna. I don't think you're gonna find it. There's just a lot of like mediocre people out there that occasionally do something funny, that occasionally make autistic content like this podcast. Waiting for my ed page. But you're not gonna find anything as basically like all inclusive as Chris Chan or DSP. And I think I might make my next video about DSP. He's already blocked me on Twitter, so like I doubt he'll ever like listen to it if I do make a podcast about good old DSP. But like, there's not a whole lot of good, like, all-inclusive content like that. Like, Christian and DSP. Like, if you look back at my randomly Encyclopedia Dramatica series, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you guys right now. It's not wholly random. I've only made 2 episodes. I made a third one, but since I no longer have my subscription to Adobe Creative Cloud, and the only Adobe Premiere that I have is Adobe Premiere Pro 6 from like 1996, and that doesn't even have the right codecs for me to use, and then barely runs on Windows 10, I can't fucking easily make video content anymore. That's why I decided to go like a podcast route. But anyway, my like 3rd episode of that wasn't completely random. I had a random like 5 different times to get anyone with any like small amount of locale in them, and it still wasn't even a very good episode. I probably won't even ever release it if I do get Adobe Creative Cloud for Premiere Pro and After Effects again. But like, there's not a whole lot out there. I mean, there is a whole lot. I take that. There's a fuck ton out there, but it's just not a lot of quality at all. So if you're still listening to this, it's been like 50 minutes of hearing my lovely voice, and I don't know if this will be like a weekly thing, monthly thing, bi-daily thing, daily thing. Who the fuck knows? Because I sure as hell don't. If you have a suggestion for content for me to do, just leave a comment down below, and obviously I'll read it because I'll probably like at maximum get one comment on this, and then I'll look into it if I don't know, and I'll do it and try to do my best to shit ball it, shit post, whatever, who the hell knows, until like I reach like an hour mark, just like I'm doing right now. But yeah, it's fun. I think I'm getting better at speaking. I'm not, as I said, I'm not an eloquent motherfucker. And my next episode, I think I'll go with DSP. I know, here's the thing about DSP. I've watched so many This Is How You Don't Play It. I've watched so many Hate Lives. I try to stay away from Sons of Kojima videos, because why would I want to listen to someone else talk about an issue when I could just listen to it myself? Same thing with Almighty Tevin. But every now and then I'll listen to one of Tevin's videos, and every now and then I'll listen to a Sons of Kojima one if it's like they aren't just talking over a fucking video for 3 hours and they're actually doing work, i.e. like the Lavaria Media thing. Like that shit I'll listen to because that's original content. But I don't know a whole lot about DSP in conjunction to the good old Quick. I've only recently, within the last, I think, 4 or 5 years, started getting into the DSP locale, or with fucking Chris Chan has been fucking years of investment into it. So I'll probably know even less, and I'll fuck up even more. So look forward to that. I won't do a DSP one if I do get some suggestions before I actually record it. But anyway, this has been old Pixelbane, signing off of the Pixelbane something podcast, something. Just keep in mind that I love you guys. I love you guys.